Okay, we're going to start just by going over what I've already done here. This is a 36 by 36 canvas, and it's called Cradle because it's got a deep 1.5-inch frame around it, so you can automatically hang it when you're finished. And I've already done 4 layers already on this, and the first layer was the white, so I used this modeling paste to give it some texture. And then the second layer was the black spots. The third layer was the white drips that you see here, and the fourth layer was this orange, almost like a watercolor. It's orange acrylic mixed with a lot of water. So that's the first couple of things there. And I use this is what I use here for my palette. It's just a piece of glass from an old picture frame. Okay, so next I'm going to put on my pinkish red color, and I'm just using this not cheap, but inexpensive Blick primary red. And I usually choose between these 2 brushes here. So I mix it with a lot of water, again, to give it that watercolor look. And this is how I go about it. So I'll start up here usually and just do like that, and then add some more water, and you can see how it just moves down the page. I don't like to have that big clump there, so sometimes I'll wipe that off and let it run. And then I'll keep doing that around the different areas. And sometimes I'll add more to make it a little darker, but that's how we go. So that's the next layer. I'm going to work a little bit more still on this pink, so I have to add some more in there. And I need some right here, like that. I don't want to cover up all of the orange, so I kind of monitor that. That one's going pretty good. What else? I need some over here, so I'll go like that. Add enough so it drips down. Maybe even here. I want to get into the white. There we go. That's good. And continue on there. So I'm using a paper towel to help me. Okay, I'm going to add in some darker pink, so I'm not going to add quite as much water and just do some, I don't know, graffiti type scrolls around. Being careful to leave enough white. I don't want to cover everything over, so that's what I'm doing right now, is just adding in some of the darker pink. So that's what I'm doing now. Okay, now I've got all of the, well, it's actually technically red, but it looks pink because I mixed it with so much water. So I've got all of that I need, and I don't really want to put another coat on right now because I want to make sure all of this is dry. And you can still see that there are some drips there. And if you want to get rid of some of that, you can always use a paper towel. This one's a little bit too much over here, so I'm just going to wipe that off and then look around and see if there's anything else. But that looks good. And then I'll let that dry for probably, I don't know, an hour or so. Check it out, and then we'll do another layer. All right, so hang tight. Okay, it's been about an hour. I wanted to let it dry, and I went and did some gardening in the meantime. Excuse me. So I'm going to use this nickel azo. No, I'm not. Hold on. I'm going to use the yellow oxide. This is just Utrecht, or I don't know how do you say that? Utrecht. It's a liquid, so I mix this also. Just a few drips here, and then I'll mix it. I like to use this because it looks really good through the black. You can see it. sometimes with the other colors, you can't really see it as it goes through the black. And I like to be able to see that once the painting is done. So that's what I'm going to be doing, is using this. And I'll also paint it in other areas to cover over, you know, like this, some areas that are not covered yet. Even in the black, I like to put that in the black areas. And you can see, you can still see through to the pink. And so that's what I'm working with right now. Okay, I'm still working on the yellow, so I'm going to show you how I do that. Okay, so if you take a look, you can see the yellows in there. And I'm going to be working on this one here. So I want to make a drip there and a drip there. I don't like that, so I'm going to wipe that off. That's not functioning correctly. So I'll put it there. And you can see you can barely see it. So what I do is I let that part sort of dry and then I'll go back in. But I also add yellow into you can see I'm adding it also into some of the black areas, as well as into the white. I want to add some green in there and some blue. So this is the next step. And I'll show you that in just a minute. Okay, now that's dry. Now I'm going to be putting on another layer of this green golden fluid. And so that's what I'm using here. And I'm just going to add it in where it's basically white. So just trying to add some more color, and you can see I'll go over it and you can still see the other colors underneath. So that's nice. And then I'll probably do this is a fairly thin coat, and then I'll probably go in and do another coat over. But it turns out real pretty underneath. Of course, we're going to be covering it up, but it'll look good. Okay, so I'm going to hand hold it so you can be up a little bit closer. But I'm just, like I said, I'm just filling in the white spaces where it seems to be white. So that's kind of what I'm doing down here. And even though I'm painting over it, you can still see, you know, underneath. So that's what I'm doing here, is just painting the green. It's a little bit more dominant than that yellow I just used, so, but that's fine. Anyway, so that's what I'm doing. Okay, well, I started putting the blue on there. I'm just using this Blick Cerulean Blue, and watered it down, of course, and then I'm just using my brush to put, you know, some graffiti type strokes in there as another one of the layers. So, and you can still see through the layers. So that's what I'm doing there. And so let me actually move up so you can see a close-up of that. So anyway, that's the blue I put on there, and then you can, even though it's blue, you can see through it because it's more like a watercolor. So those are all my layers that I ended up with. Well, I'm really sorry about this last part of the video. I'm not that great at taking these videos yet, so I'm learning, but I'll try to do better next time. But I wanted you to see this because it's showing you all the different colors that I ended up with. I also had done some Sharpie writing on the canvas to my last step. So you can see all the different colors that I talked about using. And I guess I set my iPhone on the square because I was making a 36 by 36, and so I took a photograph of the canvas, and then I forgot to change it back, so that's why it's like that, I believe. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it, and keep watching. I'm going to try to post a lot of the different paintings that I do, so thanks again.